Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Leichttraktor. The Leichttraktor is a tier 1 German light tank. It's located on the north spawn of mines under the command of TheCrazyPlatypus. Game on. Well, you'll have to excuse the fact that there are a lot of bots in this game. In fact, there are only 10 players either team. And, well, most of those are bots. There's only 3 real players on either team as far as I can see. 2 of those on Platypus's team are in Leichttraktor's, including herself. And 1 is in an MS1, the Russian tier 1. But everyone else is a bot. Oh, no, there is another player in a 4TP. I must have missed that one. A real player in a 4TP. So there's 4 players, real players, on each team. Now the Leichttraktor comes with 2 different guns. You can either have the 3.7cm, which is the stock gun, or the 2cm Braider. And of course the 2cm Braider is an automatic, whereas the 3.7mm or 3.7cm I should say is actually a one-shot gun. You get better DPM from the 2cm gun. Now they actually started designing and finished the work on this tank, designing it in 1928. It was June 1928 they first finished it. It was Krupp who actually designed it, but under the Treaty of Versailles they were not allowed to have any tanks, so they called it a tractor instead to fool people into thinking that it was actually an agricultural vehicle. That was the way they got round the treaty, and the way they got round testing it is that they didn't. They had a treaty with the Soviet Union, the Treaty of Rapino, and also the Berlin Friendship Treaty, or actually not Rapino, Rapello. I think I was thinking of somebody else on that moment. Yeah, the Treaty of Rapello. They were actually allowed to test the German designs at a place in Kazan, where Russian tanks were tested at the same time, and I think this was a treaty that the Soviets actually regretted in the end, mainly because it allowed the Germans to work out A, how to build tanks, and B, how to use them, because these tanks were then taken back to Germany and many years later were used to train the panzer divisions. All the commanders of tanks would actually use these and work out how they can actually fight them. Oh, Light Viz 35 over there. We just took around from a Renault Otso, the Japanese one. You can see the automatic gun and its reload. Now, not many people will normally do replays with tier 1 tanks, so I thought it'd be quite nice actually to put this one in after the TheCrazyPlatypus sent it to us. And she's got her first kill, the Light Viz 35, which of course is a tier 2, I believe. Is that a tier 2 tank? Yes, it is. Tier 2 Czech tank. And she's now going after the Cruiser 1. And it should be remembered, this is a tier 2 game with tier 1 tanks in it. So she's actually punching above her weight by taking down tier 2 tanks. Now this tank actually has the second most HP of all the tier 1 tanks, and it's got very good traverse speed, but it's kind of slow. It also has good gun selection, and she's got a second kill. She's taken out the Cruiser 1, but she did take 1 round from him, and he was firing HE, mainly because he probably thought he could penetrate the sides of the tank. It doesn't have much in the way of armour. It's only 14mm all round, either on the hull or on the turret. Trying to get a shot there on that Renault Otso. Now she's spotted a Fiat 3000. Oh, got some damage. Okay, she's reloaded, just waiting for a target to come into view. Now it also has some of the best view range for all the tier 1 tanks, and it also has free repairs and ammo when you play this tank, but obviously all the tier 1s do as well. The bad thing is this tank actually has quite a large silhouette. It's also got a turret on the rear rather than on the front, which makes it kind of difficult to learn how to play. It can side scrape, and if you do side scrape, then obviously you can increase the size of the armor, obviously, or increase the thickness of the armor, but it's still very, very thin, 14 millimeters. It also does fairly poor damage per shot, but of course it does put out a lot of fire from those shots, so the reload's quite good, the accuracy's quite good, depends on which gun you actually get. And looks like she's going to have a go at this tier 1 T1. Side scraping. Oh yes, the T1 doesn't know how to play it properly, and although he got one round into us, he did take a lot of damage. There's the house sinker. One more shot to kill, and she gets the kill as well. So she's now up to 3 kills. Well, one of our players in a Leichttraktor's driven after that T1, and he is getting some damage, but he might find out to his cost. Oh, he did get the kill. But the TheCrazyPlatypus is going over to the other side of the map because she still wants that Renault Otso, the one who hit her first in the game. Where is he? There he is. And I think she's hit him. Now just needs to get more damage in. He's probably aiming at the moment. She did get some damage, but of course, as you can see, at this range, it can be difficult to get shots, and the Renault managed to get a decent shot into TheCrazyPlatypus. She needs to pull back, really, because she's taking a lot of damage from that guy. She's down to 5 hit points now. That was a big mistake to take that guy on. The first shot that hit her, she should have pulled away, because her slow damage rate is actually affected her. Now she's going to have to try and use the bush mechanic, and it seems to be working. She probably should have done that to start with. She's tracked him, and he's still there, but only 4 hit points left, and now he's out the game. So that's 4 kills now for the TheCrazyPlatypus, but now she's got to fight the game with only 5 hit points left. There's only 2 enemies remaining, the MS1, who's fairly healthy actually, and the other one's the BT2, and the MS1's headed this way. Now, can he see her? Well, all we could see was the top of the turret, but she didn't allow him to get any shots. Now, this vehicle also has the engine at the front of the tank, and that can be a bit of a problem, mainly because if the engine gets hit, and of course the shells will go straight through the armour, then the tank can be immobilised, and once it's immobilised, it's very difficult to stop the enemy pumping shells into you until you die. It also has fairly poor mobility when it's in stock configuration, so you need to upgrade it as quickly as you can so you can get the top gun and the top engine so you can move about. There's the BT2. He's over by the cap area, but he didn't go for the cap, mainly because I think he's worried about that T60. Now, I think the TheCrazyPlatypus is thinking about going over the edge of the cliff there to get away from the MS1. There's the BT2. She's going to try and hit him in his weak rear. Waiting. Yeah, she got a fair amount of damage there, but I think she was spotted. No sixth sense operating, I think. It didn't come up, but she would have been seen. And the MS is in the castle grounds, and he's actually coming for her. She managed to spot him out of the corner of her eye, so she's decided to go around the castle keep and attack him from the rear whilst he's engaged with the 4TP. The 4TP, remember, is the one of the bots actually. It's not the other player. So it looks like that MS1, which is another bot, is going to be distracted. And oh no, he did look this way. The moment the turret looked this way, she needed to pull back, because now he's looking, and he's very accurate with bots. You've got to watch out for them once they've got your attention. Now the other good news is that she is the last real player alive in the game. The other players on the enemy team are both bots, and the other player on her team is also a bot. So if TheCrazyPlatypus stays alive, then her team are likely to win, even though they seem to have better health. In fact, actually don't. They're better off to the tune of 55 hit points. And now she's managed to pump some more rounds into that MS1. Playing peekaboo. A lot of players do play peekaboo with this tank. And the MS has pulled back. Well, the BT2 has not been seen again since. The 4TP still in the castle grounds. I'm afraid bots don't often do what you want them to do, and the enemy is now capping, so we know the BT2 is in the cap. Now, with her low hit points, ideally at this moment TheCrazyPlatypus needs to go towards the cap and get a reset. But I think she's going to let that guy cap so she can get a defender medal. She might be able to take out this MS1 if he's pops his head out, but I go to the cap now. Let the 4TP hold the MS1 down while he's in the castle grounds, and she can go to the cap area, or at least some way off to the bushes, and shoot at him from a distance to get resets. Hopefully he won't leave the cap, he'll just sit there in the cap, but she needs to make sure that she does get that reset. If she doesn't get it, then she's going to have problems. There he is, he's in the cap. Oh, he's a one-shot. And she's got him. Well, she's got 5 kills, which is 1/3 of the enemy team. And actually now, if she can kill that MS1, she will pick up a top gun in this game. Potentially, she also might have a high caliber. She's got 950 hit points so far. And the last remaining tank's got 56 hit points, so she'll just get over 1,000 by getting that last kill. But if the 4TP takes any damage on that MS1, then she might lose out. Oh, she fires snap and she gets damage, and now he's a one shot at 2 shots at 21 hit points. So it's all down to TheCrazyPlatypus now. I would drive around the keep and come up behind him. I think he's headed this way anyway. 4TP's going the other side. She's using the gun depression, what it is, 10 degrees of gun depression, to actually attack that MS1 the moment he pokes his head round the corner. That's the 2-minute warning. This battle's going to go down to the last, I think. She doesn't want to take a round from that MS1 at all. If she does get hit by the MS1, it's all over. She'll lose, because she is definitely a one-shot. But he is definitely a 2-shot, so she's going to have to fire 2 rounds into him. 2 2-centimeter rounds from that automatic gun. Well, it's definitely a cannon, an automatic cannon. There he is! Yes! She gets him! And that wins the battle! Nicely played. Well, that was the first ace tanker for the TheCrazyPlatypus in the Leichttraktor or LOL tractor. You can tell it's her first ace tanker because you got the scrolls underneath. You only get that if it's your first. So very well done. Congratulations. A fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of her own vehicle. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged her. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, she got 10 in total. And she got a hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemy vehicles. She got an All-X medal in that game for taking down 2 tanks or tank destroyers in a battle that were at least 1 tier higher than her, as well as the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, a top gun for getting at least 6 kills, and when she reset the cap, she actually got enough 70 defense points to get the defender medal as well. So congratulations on that. She left it just long enough to accumulate enough defending points. I think that some players, they leave it just too late and they try to drive saying, oh, I've got plenty of time to get to the cap, but they leave it just too late. and then the capping person actually ends up winning simply because, say, one of your rounds bounced off their vehicle at the wrong moment and didn't do a reset. Her win rate from that game, 14,221, which is very high, super income and quite a bit more. But it was a lot of fun to see a Leichttraktor in action again. Let's have a look at team score. Well, yes, she was definitely the leading player in that game, 1,107 hit points of damage. The next highest score was the MS1 on her own team with 283, and he was a live person. And the third highest damage was the Fiat 3000 she took out, which was 235 hit points. When it came to kills, she had the highest number of those with 6, and in fact joint second place was the MS1, the Leichttraktor, the Fiat 3000 and the T1 Cunningham, all had 1 kill each. And when it came to base XP, yep, she's got that one as well with 679, so she's got the top in all 3 columns, with the next highest being the Leichttraktor with 281, 209 for the 4TP, and after that the MS1 with 183. She fired 297 rounds in the game, got 158 direct hits on the enemy, but only 104 penetrations, and I think that's down to the poor penetration on those 2cm rounds. They can actually sometimes cause a bit of a problem because they've only got 30mm of penetration, but if the vehicle you're firing at actually has fairly solid armour or is angled against you, then the rounds are more than likely going to bounce off. And you saw in that game that quite a few rounds did bounce off the enemy, they just didn't go through. 1,107 hit points of damage, and all of it was done at close range. 7 hits received from the enemy, 6 of them were penetrations, and a lot of those came from that Renault Otsu, who was firing very accurate shots, and you could tell that because he was dialing in on the TheCrazyPlatypus at one point, and he did get 3 big hits, which luckily the TheCrazyPlatypus pulled away from that position and then tried to use the bush mechanic to work on that tank, and in the end that's what killed him. If she'd started off with the bush mechanic, I think she probably would have walked away with a nice easy kill on him, and then she would have had plenty to spare for later on during the game. She did receive 1 hit by way of splash as well, because one of the enemy fired an HE round at her. I think that was the Cruiser 1. 3 enemy vehicles were spotted, 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 6 killed, 72 hit points of damage assist, and she got 73 defense points when she reset the cap. Now on a free-to-play account, she earned 11,139 credits, but she did fire premium rounds during the game. Yeah, unfortunately. Well, yes, if you're doing what you're doing here, which is basically seal clubbing stroke puppy kicking, yes, I know it's a terrible term, isn't it, but it is apt. She actually ended up with a massive loss of 107,661 credits for the game, but she did get her first ace tanker in this vehicle, and I suppose now she can leave it alone and not have to go out and kill the bots. 679 base XP times 4 for the first victory, took away 2,716 experience points altogether. The real skill with the Leichttraktor is actually to play it with standard ammo or to play it with the stock gun and see if you can do as well under the same circumstances. I'm afraid most people think that killing bots is actually fairly easy. No, it's not. Bots can actually be quite devious. They do switch to premium ammo at the first opportunity they get, and so you could end up being on the receiving end of a very nasty round that will go straight through your hull. And remember, these Leichttraktor do not have much in the way of armor. And yes, in fact, we'll have a quick look at that right now, because the armor on this tank is quite abysmal. There we go. Bring up the screen. You can see at the front of the vehicle 14mm, and that's basically all you're getting. The lower plate's even worse, 19mm. Well, it's not worse actually, it's better. What am I saying? You can aim for the lower plate, and it's 25mm of pen. The upper plate, well, that's basically the front plate, but the upper plate here is so well angled that it's actually coming out with only 6mm of armor. It's actually coming out at 9mm, so yes, easily to pen this part. There's the driver's box or viewpoint. He's got 14mm all around. The sides of the vehicle 14mm, sides of the turret 14mm, rear of the vehicle 14mm. So yes, most of the metal on this tank is 14mm. The only one that hasn't got so much is the engine cover, on the front of the engine cover, but I suppose that's mainly because most people, if they're firing at the front of the vehicle with such a well angled engine plate, you'd expect some of the rounds to ricochet off, but they don't. Let's have a look at the modules. Okay, go full screen. Okay, now the engine up front, sandwiched between two fuel tanks with the transmission directly in front. So if any ammo goes through, any rounds goes straight through the front of the vehicle, they're going to damage the engine straight away, and that immobilizes you until you can fix it. So you must carry a repair kit, otherwise you're going to be in deep trouble. As you can see, the radio is over on the left hand side of the vehicle, the driver on the right hand side of the vehicle, as we're seeing there, with his little box to look out through. And we can see those massive ammo racks down below in the actual vehicle itself. They're all over the rear of the vehicle, so if you want to aim for the to get an ammo rack, then that's the place to aim for. The tank commander is also the loader and the gunner in this tank. It's only a two-person tank, so at least I think it's only a two-person tank, or am I wrong? Is that the loader? It is a loader, so I am wrong. The tank commander is the gunner, but there's a loader in there as well, and he's shoveling those shells into the breach as fast as he can. So yes, this tank is basically a walking ammo rack, so if you can put a round through, put it underneath the turret if you can, because that's where it's more than likely going to hit the ammo racks and make the thing go boom. If you want to make it go up in flames, you just aim for the front of the tank and it should work the same thing. But you need to shoot through the sides really, because if you try and shoot through the front, you're more than likely going to hit the engine instead, and that's just going to immobilize it, and you won't get a fire from the fuel tanks. But that's where all the modules are on the Leichttraktor. So I hope you enjoyed that little throwback to the past. I think for many of you, you haven't taken this tank out for a ride for a very long time, mainly because people leave the Leichttraktor behind as soon as they've mastered tier 2, tier 3 and tier 4 tanks, and they never touch it again unless they're playing some special game with other people. But yes, it can be a fun tank to play, and you can get some medals in it. After all, as you can see here, 4 medals for the TheCrazyPlatypus. But mainly I think it's also not a good idea to play it all the time, mainly because this is the tank that a lot of noobs are playing. They're coming into the game, and you don't want to try and seal club them, because after all, you want to attract them into the game to stay in the game, because otherwise they're never going to learn the beauties of playing Arty. So we want them to stay in the game long enough to discover Arty and not to be discouraged from playing the game again by getting seal clubbed. I hope you enjoyed the replay. If you did, please give the video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.